What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. In this video, we're going to be going over Castor Maritime again, ticker symbol CTRM. This stock is up about 6% at the time that I'm recording this video. Now, none of my videos are live, so the price could change throughout the rest of the day until market close. But they announced new acquisitions of new vessels. CTRM has been very busy over the past month, gaining new ships to help amplify their dry bulk shipping business. We're going to go over their new acquisition of a new vessel, some of their older acquisitions to see if we can figure out how many vessels that they have acquired. We're also going to take a look at some of the short interest and some of the new institutional owners that I did not mention in my last CTRM video. So before we get into all of that information, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you go down and hit that like button. And if you want to see more videos like this, make sure you hit the subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so you're notified every time I post a new video, so you get to stay up to date on all of your favorite stocks, learn about a couple of new ones, and see exactly which options I am trading and which strategies I am using to trade them. So if we take a look at the chart of CTRM, it's been on an absolute moon mission through 2021. Now, we did see a significant sell-off, which is pretty normal when we see penny stocks like CTRM absolutely go parabolic. And in my last video, I said that CTRM could be a 10x stock throughout 2021, but we are going to need to see a couple of things out of them in order to think about initiating a new position. I talked about gaining more ships, which they actually announced today, and we are going to need to see good earnings. So we're going to go over that as well in this video and what we need to see out of CTRM in their next earnings announcement in the beginning of March. If we come over and take a look at this article, we can get more details on the acquisition of the new vessel that Castor Maritime announced today. So if we come over here, Castor, or the company, a diversified global shipping company, announced that it entered through a separate wholly owned subsidiary into an agreement to purchase a 2010 Korean-built Kamsarmax dry bulk carrier from an unaffiliated third party for a purchase price of $14.8 million. The acquisition is expected to be consummated by taking delivery of the vessel sometime in the end of the first quarter or the beginning of the second quarter of this year, and is subject to the satisfaction of certain customary closing conditions. Now, the CEO of Castor commented, "We are very happy to announce the acquisition of our third Kamsarmax dry bulk vessel and remain committed to our plan of steadily deploying capital and growing our fleet." That is a very good sign. If they have more ships, they can make more trips, transport more materials, and make more money in the long term. Upon completion of all our recently announced acquisitions, our fleet will consist of 12 vessels, doubling in size since the beginning of 2021. We are working diligently in identifying and taking advantage of attractive opportunities presented to us across vessel sizes and segments. This is a very good sign. They are expanding their fleet because they think that they are going to be able to get more distribution deals, because their business is essentially logistics. They are transporting different materials, the dry bulk materials, which are essentially like iron ore, stuff like that, across the world and overseas. We can also see that on February 1st, Castor Maritime announced the acquisition of a very similar vessel. So February 1st, Castor Maritime climbs 14% on announcement of vessel acquisition. Now, we can see that today, CTRM is only up about 6.5%. Now, the reason for that, if you can see some of my recently viewed stocks over here, the overall market is having a very tough day and everything is having a pretty significant sell-off. You can see the S&P 500 is down about 0.72%. And it's kind of dragging everything down with it. If we were to see an overall green day in the market, CTRM might have been able to go up 14%. Now, we can see that the acquisition, again, is expected to be consummated by taking delivery of the vessel within quarter one and is subject to the satisfaction of certain customary closing conditions. They're basically just saying the same exact thing. They have 8 vessels at that time. Now they have 12. They are aggressively expanding their fleet, which I think is a very bullish sign for the company long term. If we go over and take a look at some of the institutional ownership of CTRM, it's a little bit strange that we see a lot of really big institutions, in my opinion, owning this company. Now, some of them may not be in large amounts, and that's because this stock is a true penny stock. But it is interesting to see that Morgan Stanley has a 104,000 share position. Citadel, everybody's favorite company right now, has a position of 408,000. And what's important is if we come down here, we can see that Renaissance Technologies, arguably the most famous hedge fund in all of history, has a current position of about 480,000 shares, and they actually decreased their position over the last quarter. If you guys don't know about Renaissance Technologies and you are deep into investing, you should definitely go take a look at what this company was able to do. Then, short, they had this company, this fund called the Medallion Fund, and they were really the first people to have an unbelievably successful algorithmic trading fund. It's now closed to outside investors. It's not really a big thing anymore, but that fund was extremely successful. You should definitely go take a look at that if you are interested. Now, everything highlighted in green on this chart is newly initiated positions, so there's overall an overwhelming amount of green. There are a couple of red highlighted positions, which means that they actually closed their entire position. Goldman Sachs closed their position. Cap Trust, Hudson Bay Capital Management actually closed their position as well. We can also see that CTRM has a pretty high short float right now. We can see that the short percentage is about 27%. Now, that's nothing crazy like we saw with GameStop or AMC, but this high of a short float is enough to actually cause somewhat of a short squeeze. Now, it is possible that we already saw the majority of this squeeze happen, but I think if we see a couple more big green days in CTRM, that we could see another pretty substantial squeeze happen. The next big catalyst that we have for Castor Maritime coming up in the near future is going to be its earnings. Now, before we get into that, we can actually see if we come over here that CTRM is getting a pretty substantial bump right now. At the beginning of the time that I was recording this video, the stock was up around 6%, and now it is trading up almost 10%, which is very good on the day. If you guys were able to get into CTRM at these lower prices, you are absolutely killing it right now, and I don't think that this run is anywhere close to over. So if we come over here, we can see that CTRM's earnings date is projected to be on March 3rd. Now, this is not confirmed. This is just the upcoming earnings date is derived from an algorithm based on the company's historical reporting dates. We could see the actual confirmed date be 1 or 2 weeks after March 3rd, but I think we are going to see CTRM report their earnings in the beginning to the middle of March. Now, here's what we need to look out for. If we come over here, we can see the previous reported EPS and the generally accepted accounting principles EPS. Now, we can see that they had a loss in the previous 2 quarters, but in the 4th quarter of 2019, we saw CTRM actually have a profit. Now, I don't think that CTRM is going to be able to be profitable in Q4 of 2020, but I think it is possible that in the guidance of CTRM, we are going to get some estimates on when they can be profitable. They have 12 vessels now, which is absolutely amazing, and I think they are going to project a lot of revenue growth, so the guidance that the company gives out is going to be the most important part. If they choose to not give guidance, that is not going to be a good sign in my opinion, but with all of the good news coming out about CTRM, I think it is very probable that they give some pretty aggressive guidance throughout 2021. In addition, if they can beat any of these 2 previous revenue numbers, 2.59 million and 2.73 million, I think that will be very bullish in my opinion. 2020 was a very tough year for every company, but if we can see them actually have some revenue growth throughout the end of 2020, I think this is going to be some great news for the company, and we could see a massive bump in share price. So that is going to be it for this update on Castor Maritime stock, ticker symbol CT. If you guys enjoyed the information that I provided for you in this video, make sure you go down and hit that like button and hit the subscribe button and turn on that notification bell if you want to see more videos like this. So I hope you guys are having a really profitable trading day, even though the overall market is having a very weak day. Hopefully you were able to mitigate some of your losses, but that's going to be it for this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.